to speak. I live on Carpenter Lane within the ETJ of the city of Hayes, where Hayes Common is proposing this large-scale development. As currently requested in the preliminary plat, Hayes Commons would allow 20 to 40 homes to be built on the west side of Little Bear Creek and would only be accessible by Carpenter Lane. Carpenter Lane is not a fully developed county road and has 3 low water crossings that flood in severe rain events. There are no bridges on this road to pass over the rushing water in Little Bear Creek. And Little Bear Creek passes through my property, and the road has been flooded many times in the 30 years I've lived on the property. In 2018, when we had a rain bomb of 10 to 11 inches in less than 8 hours in Menchaca, Little Bear Creek rose 14 feet and took out a 20-foot section of a solid 2-inch steel welded catwalk that wrapped it around a tree. The stream of water was 120 feet wide, running with such catastrophic forces through the land, our fencing, and our neighbor's fencing as well. During more typical rainfalls of 3 to 4 inches of rain over the watershed, the road is covered with 1 to 3 feet of water and is impassable for 24 to 36 hours. I built a catwalk so I could get to work and help neighbors cross over so they could do so as well. There have been multiple instances of stalled vehicles, and one instance in which a young woman was trapped in her car and had to be rescued because she didn't think the water was that deep. Her headlights reflected off the water as she came to work early in the morning at the dog facility that's down the end at the end of this road. This road does not meet current county standards and at a minimum should be improved to avoid a future tragedy. This development should at least contribute funds to upgrade and improve the road so that a future resident doesn't die because emergency services cannot reach them, because fire trucks and EMS vehicles cannot drive through a wall of water in a pouring rain. Even as proposed, this plan would double the number of people using the road daily. Please vote no on this development until this road is upgraded to allow for safe passage. Their lives will depend on it. Thank you. I also want to recognize some of the other members of our community that are here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have.
Thank you, Judge.
Tip Hoffman.
Sorry, that's you.
Hoffman.
Thank you. I apologize.
I guess there are 2 of me here today.
There's Jeff Howard next.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you this morning. I don't live in the city of Hayes. I live in Leisure Woods, right across the street from the city of Hayes. And we're pretty much connected. I want to talk about 2 points today, and they're really process points. The first one is I think there's a need for interjurisdictional cooperation, much like we saw from the gentleman earlier on the watershed discussion. And there's also a much greater need, I think, for an internal process that is more transparent for dealing with developmental proposals here at Hayes County. As I said, I live right across the street, but I share the same water. I'm in the Edwards Aquifer recharge zone as well. The boundaries that we have as a community are artificial. We really all live together in one region, and I think we need to share commonly the results of the damage or the benefits that we bring to our environment. Milestone has plans to build and pave a whole swath of communities, basically, that would connect all the way from 967 in Buda through the city of Hayes and up into South Austin, ravaging the environment that entire way, as they have done historically. This is what they do. I don't want my water fouled by Milestone. Milestone, it turns out, has projects in the works for both Buda's ETJ, the City of Hayes ETJ, the City of Hayes, Austin ETJ, Hayes County, and Travis County. And they have been jurisdiction shopping for the best deal so that they can get the best deal they can possibly reach. The jurisdictions need to work together so that they can't be undermined or countermanded by decisions made by an adjacent jurisdiction. Also to the need for a more transparent process here in Hayes County. Last week, this subdivision proposal came before this court for preliminary approval. Ostensibly, not one of the commissioners was prepared on this topic, and yet it was laid out for your approval. Ostensibly, even Commissioner Smith, my commissioner, who was sponsoring the item, knew nothing about it. I find that hard to believe, Commissioner, but you said so from the dais, so I take you at your word. Regardless, the county needs a better process for staff to prepare and brief the court before bringing items of this magnitude before them for a decision. When I was a senior executive in state government, if I ever pulled a stunt like that, it would have been a very career-limiting event in my life. This needs to be addressed in your internal processes. So thank you for your time, and I have nothing more than that. Thank you much.
Well done, well timed, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioners. Bobby Lewinsky with the City of Hayes. We spoke last week quite a bit, so I won't repeat those points. The 2 point platinum I really want to mention right now. So the development agreement that we have with the applicant, the city denied the plat based on, in part, the not complying with the development agreement. We'd really like to have one of the reasons why you're denying the plat, the preliminary plan today would be that it does not comply with either the development agreement or just remove those notes entirely. If Hayes County is not going to be reviewing for them, we don't think that they should be on the preliminary plan, referencing that they are compliant with that development agreement. Secondarily, I think it is important that we engage in cooperation, and actually I really appreciate all of you for engaging in dialogue. Last week you were very engaged in the conversation. Commissioner Smith, appreciate you reaching out afterwards. This is not, as Jeff said, this is not the end permit, but it is a really important permit because it establishes vesting. So if they're not ready to go, we shouldn't be approving a preliminary plan that could provide them vesting rights that might extend beyond that development agreement. That's truly what's at issue here, and we really need to be careful to approve a plan that's not in accordance with Hayes County standards, City of Hayes standards, or the development agreement that they are allegedly filing their permit under. We would really appreciate working with Hayes County staff on a better process for reviewing these plans moving forward. We'll reach out to them. We'll make sure that we do our part to do that, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.